Hello, Sandite friends and YouTube friends. Got a Sandite friend with me today, and we're going to be working on multiplying decimals. And it's pretty simple to do. It's not any different than working on other multiplication problems, two-digit numbers, one-digit numbers. It doesn't matter. It's still all multiplication. And like I've said in a lot of my videos, the better that you know your multiplication facts, the easier life as far as math is concerned is going to be. And we've got an easy one that we're going to do here. We've got a problem that is 0.3, and we're going to multiply it by a 0.9. And on the paper, there's actually a 0 in front of these, but I don't pay a whole lot of attention to the zeros in front of the decimals. So I'm just going to look at 0.3 times 0.9, and my Sandite buddy here has already finished the problem. And 3 times 9, he has 27, and he has the decimal in front of the 27. Why do you have the decimal right there, Sandite buddy?
Because the 0 wouldn't make it very easy, so I would just put the decimal in front of it all.
Okay. Well, another way to put that is that notice how in the problem there is 2 digits, 2 numbers behind the decimal. See, there's a number there behind the decimal and a number there behind the decimal. So 2 numbers behind the decimal. Make sure that there's 2 numbers behind the decimal in your answer.
Or else you can't do it like that.
Otherwise, you're going to get it wrong. Okay? Decimal placement is very important, and it's got to be in the right place. Now, unlike adding or subtracting decimals, when you multiply decimals, you don't line them up. Okay? So just remember, when you're multiplying decimals, don't line them up. It's not necessary. All you have to do is count the number of digits, or how many numbers there are behind the decimals, and make sure that there's that many in the answer. So, Sandite friend, what's the next problem we have? 2.6?
2.6 times 1.7.
2.6 times 1.7. And it's important to, I like to call these columns, keep everything lined up. The better it's lined up, and the easier that the better you're writing, the easier you can tell what's written, and it just makes life a whole lot easier. And I'm going to have to kind of cram things up because I put this down so low. But here we go. This is where the multiplication facts and having them memorized comes in handy. So 7 times 6 is 42, so we're going to put down the 2, and we're going to carry the 4. 7 times 2 is 14, plus the 4, so we have 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So we have 182 on the first line. Do you agree?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Now we're finished with this first column. Now we're going to kind of start in the second column. So let's put
placeholder 0.
Let's put a placeholder, and you can use anything you want. I like to use zeros. Some people leave it blank. Some, it doesn't matter. Just make sure it's not a number that is counted into the problem. So we're working on the second column, so our next answer needs to go in the second column. So here we go. 1 times 6 is 6, right?
Yes.
1 times 2 is 2, and I got 260 on the second line. Is that what you got?
Yes, sir.
All right.
And
I
answer.
haven't worried about the decimal yet. I'm not going to worry about that until I get to the answer, okay? So here we go. We're going to add now. 2 plus 0 is 2.
And then
8 plus 6
14.
is 14. 4, carry your 1. And 2, 3, 4, 442
That's what I
is
got.
the number that we got. Now we have to worry about the decimal. This is the important part. This is why we're making this video. There's two numbers behind the decimal. There's one there and one there. Make sure in your answer that there are two numbers behind the decimal. 4.42. Okay? Do you agree with that, my friend?
Yes, sir.
All right, good deal. So let me erase this one and we'll start all over. But it's that simple. Don't worry about lining the decimals up. Actually, don't even worry about or sweat the decimal at all until you get to the answer. And then make sure you put the decimal in the right place. Unlike adding where you have to keep it all lined up and it just drops down. So the next problem, let's do number 3. You want to?
Yes, and Mr. Smith's been helping out with the school, so he knows what he's doing.
Hey, yeah, thanks. I appreciate that endorsement. I'll pay you later. Okay, so number 3, we have 1.09, right?
I would say 109 times 540.
Okay, and it's what?
109 times 5.4. I would just say 109 times 540.
Well, let's not add a 0.
Yeah.
Let's just do it 5.4, okay?
Yes. Good idea.
Or if you wanted to do 109 times 54, you can do that, and then just make sure when you go back in that you count the numbers behind the decimal. Okay? So you ready? Now, if sometimes it's helpful if you haven't memorized the multiplication facts, you might want to go to a multiplication table, something like this. It's understandable. So don't worry, you're not the only one, but I like to say always practice your multiplication facts. So here we go. You ready?
Yes.
4 times 9, 9, 18, 27, be 36, right?
Yes.
So we put down a 6.
And then we'd carry the 3.
We carry the 3. A lot of people are having problems right here. They're doing 4 times 0 and they're stopping.
That's not right because you're supposed to do that on the second column.
Okay, but the 4 times 0 is 0, right?
Yes.
Plus the 3 that
It's
we
3.
carried over would be 3. Okay? And notice it's not perfect, but I'm trying to keep everything in a column and lined up. It just makes life a whole lot easier. And then 4 times 1 is 4, right? So I get 436 on my top line. Is that what you have?
Oh, I got 536, but I was just wrong on 1.
Well, no. Well, 4 times 1 is 4, right? You were just looking at the 5, I bet. Okay? So here we go. Let's do a placeholder. I'll use a 0. I think that's what you like to use too. We're finished with the first column, which is the 4. It's not in play anymore. So now we're going to be working on the 5 in the second column. And so the answer needs to go right here. 5 times 9, I would say 45. Would you agree?
Yes.
So I would put the 5 underneath the 3, and I would carry the 4. We're finished with that 3. We don't need it anymore. 5 times 0 is 0, plus the 4 that we carried over would be 4. Okay? And then the 5 times 1, we would get 5. Okay? So did you end up with 5450 on your second line?
Almost.
You're not quite finished yet.
Okay.
Okay? So now we're going to add the 436 and the 5450, see what we get. There's a 6, right?
Yes.
There's an 8, 5 plus 3, right?
Yes.
4 plus 4 is another 8. And that 5 is just going to drop down. Now, here comes the decimal.
I'd put it right between the 5 and the first 8.
Very good. Because I know that in the original problem, there's 1, 2, 3 numbers behind the decimal. So I better make sure that there's 3 numbers behind the decimal in my answer. So that would be 5.886. So that's pretty simple. I think My friend and I are going to do a few more problems. Later on, we're going to do some where we have to add a decimal to another decimal, but first we have to multiply it by a variable. So there's two rules playing there. There's the rules for decimals with multiplication and decimals with addition. So with that, I'm going to sign out unless you have a question.
Well, I just wanted to add a comment.
All right.
Don't be careful and accidentally add a decimal instead of multiplying.
There you go. Okay, couldn't be said any better. All right, Sandite friends, leave a comment, subscribe, like the video. I hope you're learning. Always remember to study your multiplication facts. The more of those that you memorize just makes life so much easier.
See you next time.
See you next time.